So are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. So for today, if we talk about the HTML, imagine this is HTML. I like this image. It displays, what the HTML is. It's just a skeleton, gives us an idea what, for example, in this specific case, should be on the website. I know that my image should contain a house, the garage and something, right? Nothing else. No, I have no clue what color is my house or what color is my garage or what weather is outside, right? So this is HTML. So if we talk about the CSS, here you go. Now we have this wonderful image in color. Now we know that the color of the house is, I believe it's something like a yellow. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have a brown roof. The skies and clouds, right? And I see the color of the garage. Now everything is in color, right? But everything is still static, right? And now if we talk about the JavaScript, as you can see, if you compare it, I know if it's like, hopefully it's visible for you guys. What's the difference between those two images? If you're going to be future keys, you have to have a keen eye. Who can tell me what's the difference between those images over here? Come on, guys.
It's clouds and like a windows, different color, and garage doors.
So yeah.
There is
Yeah.
movement in JavaScript.
Exactly. So JavaScript made brought functionality to our image. Now we see that the clouds are moving, right, and the light is turned on, and the garage door is open, right. So yeah, I believe those three images should show you how this all three languages, if you can say so, should work together. This is our skeleton, this is our skin, and this is dynamic, our muscles, right? Human muscles, JavaScript makes the clouds moving, turn on the light, open the garage door, and so on and so on. Hopefully you understand how or what is JavaScript, what is CSS, and what is JavaScript. So now let's get some practice, because my course will be more focused on the practice rather than on the theory, because I believe through practical exercises you will learn much more. Okay, good. So, but before doing it, I suggest you to go to visit the following website, Codepen Io. So the Codepen Io, I'm going to drop a link for you in Slack. So if you open your Slack, you will see the following message. So over here, I suggest you to register on this website. The reason why I want you to register on this website, so that you may submit your homeworks and share it with me. So I give you like a minute or two so that you can register on this website if you don't have an account over here. Okay? Good. And one more thing, I believe once you get here, your layout should look like this. So I'll give you a couple of minutes so that everybody will finish the registration over here, and then we can get started. The reason, before we started, the reason why I'm showing you this Codepen, I believe for beginners, it's way easier to understand the HTML and CSS using the Codepen IO rather than using something else. Of course, once we start, doing our project, we will be using a tool that everybody uses. It actually called the Visual Studio Code, and the UI of it is a little bit different over here. Let me open something for you. So this is what we will be doing, or what we will be learning during our course. And as you may see, it might be a little bit confusing for some of you guys, but I believe that we should start from something simple, and then we will get to the Visual Studio Code. But if you ask me what do people use on a daily job, of course they use Visual Studio Code. But come on, everybody started from something, right? And I believe the Codepen Io is the best tool to start with. Good. So let me know if you need more time or if you have any issues. Okay. Yeah, the reason I'm asking you to do this because I want you to follow all my steps that I will be doing today. Okay, guys, do you need more time?
I already register and I don't know,
Mhm.
you see me? And just go to
No. You just finish the registration and that's it. So the whole point of it to get to this specific web page, you should be seeing the same exact. It's called in let's use the correct terms. It's called layout. Say this is something that you should see. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and something on the bottom.
Yeah, I see this.
Okay, cool. Let me just ask everyone. Oksana, what about you? Do you need more time?
No, I'm done.
Okay, good, good. I will just randomly ask people. Tanya, what about you?
I'm good.
Okay. Sabina, I know it's 5 a.m., but yeah. Have you finished? Sabina, you're on mute. I think she fell asleep. Okay, Jacob, what about you? Done.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, good. So let me ask one
A
more person.
little, almost.
Okay. Let me ask Victoria. Victoria, done? Okay.
Yes, I'm
Katerina,
done.
Ines. Okay, cool. So I believe I can start, right, guys? Okay, I take it as yes. The very first thing that we would like to do is to change this nasty layout. How to change this layout? It's very simple. Actually, let me give you some intro of what Codepen is. Codepen Io. This is a website, or some people call it a sandbox, where you can practice your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Later on, we will be doing, or once we start learning the project, I will show how it's been built in a real life world. But for just practicing HTML and CSS, I believe the Codepen IO is a good tool. The reason why we're doing it, it's very easy to understand how it works. A lot of people, the sign up where it should be very easy for most of you. And if you can go to this website, you can even browse another people works. For example, if you click on the hold on, trending or something like this, you can see another people examples, and they are using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you can get familiar, or you will, for example, something like this, you can click on the elements and see how the person created something like this with the help of the CSS and JavaScript only. Sounds cool, right? So you can explore more stuff. So that's why we are using the Codepen. So the very first thing, we will be changing the layout. How to do this? In order to change the layout, we have to click on the third button, which says change the view. Is it visible for you guys, or I should zoom in?
Can you zoom in a bit?
Okay. Like this. Better? Okay. So maybe something like this. Zoom in. Okay, so the very first thing that we would like to click is this button, change view. So once we click on it, we will have three options. So the HTML, CSS, JavaScript to your left, and the current one, and then everything to the right. I prefer to see everything to the right. So that's why all I have to do is just to click on this button over here, and HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, all those three tabs are moving to the right side of my screen. Good. Once you finish this step, we won't be using the JavaScript today. That's why I can drag it all the way to the bottom. And since I won't be working with it. And today I will be working with HTML and CSS. HTML, this is like, if you remember the picture, just like a regular house, and CSS brought some colors to this house. So let's get started. Guys, are we on the same page or you need more time? Okay, I take it as yes. So the next thing that we would like to do, guys, it's very important. Don't miss this step. So you have to click on the settings. Settings. Hold on. Is it over here? Hold on. Try to remember where was it? It's been a while. Yeah, on this chevron sign over here. You click on this arrow actually, and then make sure that your autosave is enabled. It's very important so that you will see the changes right away. And if for some reason, let's say you accidentally close the current tab, once you come back to it, everything will be saved. That's why it is very important to keep to turn on autosave. Okay, I will give you a minute in order to so that you can finish it. So how to get there? You will see the save button, and next to the save button to the right of it, you will see this arrow over here. You click on this arrow, and then you have to enable autosave, the very first button over here, or the third one from top.
Excuse me,
So,
can you repeat, please, how to open this Untitled or something?
Say it again.
Can you repeat how to open this? This page person.
So this page, you go to this website, Codepen Io. So then you finish the registration, right?
Yes.
So once you finish, you go to the pen, and then pen, and that's it. You're here.
Oh, okay.
The layout might be a little bit different for you. So how to change the layout? You find this button, change view, you click on it, and then you select the third option from here.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So, and you will be having something like this. Now, from here, what we want to do, we want to enable autosave. So you click save, and then autosave should be enabled. Okay?
Yes, now, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So today we will be building our house, and we will bring, and then later on we will be coloring this house. How do we understand HTML? As I mentioned before, this is just like a skeleton of our project or our human body. But how does web browser, in this case Google Chrome, understand that we are sending something, or what is HTML in terms of the web browser, right? You know, how does web or Google Chrome understand HTML? So basically, we have to create a code, or some people call them the code instructions, and then we just put those instructions in HTML so that the browser will process those instructions and output the result. Okay, I know it might sound a little bit weird, but once we get started, everything will be clear, hopefully. So HTML, if we talk about the HTML language, all HTML elements or HTML elements altogether should be in HTML document. So since we are already working in HTML document, we don't have to we don't have to think about the outside stuff that has to be over there. But once we start working with actual project, we will definitely touch this topic. But as for right now, I think it's not important for us. So, but what important is how or what the HTML elements or what the HTML commands can be passed to the Google Chrome. This is what important is. So let's get started. So today I will be doing like my intro card or something like this, and you will be doing the same, hopefully. If you are watching us in the recording, guys, hope you will like it. So how do we start? The first HTML element that we will be working with is called H1. So H1 in Java, in HTML, we have if I select the following text, it's called HTML element, the whole thing together. As you can see, the following HTML element can be divided into two parts. This is called HTML element. It's called a tag. A tag, each tag represents something. And in this specific case, H1 represents a heading. Heading, this is something, it's just a heading. And if I put something in it, for example, stand H1, stand in, on the left side window, you will see the content or the value that I put inside my HTML tag, right? And this HTML element or this tag H1 can be separated into two parts if you want to hear the correct terms or correct definition. H1 is called also the biggest heading in HTML. It has an opening tag H1. It consists of the less sign, then the two characters H1, and then greater sign, then you have a value, and then you have this term is called closing tag. What's the difference between opening tag and the closing tag? This is a question for you guys. Slash, exactly. So if you see slash, that means that we are closing this tag, H1. Good. Do you have questions? Okay, I take it as no. So the question for you would be 3, 4, 5, and 6. What happens if I change the number over here? So instead of H1, I will put H3, H4, H5, and H6. What will I see? So as you can see from the following example, H1 stands for the biggest heading, right? H2 is a little bit smaller, H3 is smaller, and this is the smallest one, I believe. Yeah, good. Let's say that this is the smallest one. Okay, questions? So here what's different is just a number. So all you have to know about the headings, H1 stands for the biggest heading, when H5 is for the smallest heading in HTML. Good? Makes sense? Okay, let's proceed. Now I want to add, for example, the image on my card. How do I add image? If I want to add an image to my card, I have to use the tag img. It's called, stands for the image, and that's it. So this kind of the HTML tag, it's called self-closing because it doesn't have a closing part. It closes by itself. But what's the difference between this tag and this tag? The difference would be what I be putting inside my tag img. So do you remember then I said that this part over here, or H1 image, is those are considered called instructions or the code. So if we talk about the HTML, you can add, let's say, more instructions on it. So for example, that the code itself is just like a recipe, right? So here you have, for example, a cold drink or something like this, and this will be, I don't know, let's say, yeah, pizza. And we can add more details about this pizza. So for example, if we would like to know what kind of pizza it would be, we should be adding more details, right? And more details in tag itself, you know, those are called attributes in HTML. So basically, the whole point of using the attributes is just to provide extra instructions about the HTML elements. So here, what we will be putting here. So here we will be putting the attribute. Attributes actually looks always the same. You have the name of the attribute from the left. Then you have equal sign. That means the value of the following attribute. For example, in this specific case, it's called strc. And then you have the value which should be enclosed in double quotes. We will be talking about it a little bit in a second, but this is how the attribute looks like. So you have the name of the attribute, you have equal sign, then you have double quotes. What the whole point of the attributes provide extra instructions about the HTML elements. So that we would like to know in this specific example, let's say, what kind of the pizza? Is it salami pizza, cheese pizza, or pineapple pizza, or something else, right? Good. So another attribute that I will be adding here, it's called ALT. You don't, one more thing, guys, you don't necessarily have to remember all those attributes. Once you start working with them, you will learn them. You will learn how to use them. But as for right now, just watch. The tag or the attribute alt, it stands for alternative name, and it also has a name, which is alt. Then you have an equal sign, then you have double quotes. In those double quotes, we want to put something, but the point is what we should put inside. So the inside we will be putting, I don't know, the putting image. Good. Now I want to insert the image over here. As you see right now on the left side window, I have the broken image icon, and then next to it, I see the coding image, right? This is exactly what my attributes ALT has right now. So now I want to get the image. So for example, coding image, I go to Google, for example, images, and for images, for example, I select this one. All I want to do is just to right click on this image, open image in a new tab. Here you go, and I will be using this image. I will be dropping this image in our Slack channel so that everybody can have an access to it. So good. So this is right here. You can see it if you click on this Codepen Io, and then you will see it right here. All you have to do is just to select the following image and just copy it by selecting and then just copy link. And then let's come back. All we want to do is just to insert the following image inside the attribute strc. Good. Now we have attribute strc, then we have equal sign, then in double quotes we have the following value. So this value itself, this is image from the Google, right? So, and if I, for some reason, let's say I don't have this image, instead of it, if you remember, I have the coding image, right? So what the whole point of this attribute LT? So the whole point of the ALT is just, let's say that you are, or your internet is very slow, or let's say the image is broken for some reason, right? And instead of this image, the user who has bad internet or whose browser broke this image, he will see the following name or the value of the attribute ALT. If I'm not mistaken, According to the US law, every single image should have alternative theme. It meant for disabled persons so that they could use websites as well. So because unfortunately, let's say some of them do not see what the image is, but they should know what the image, what kind of the image is on the website. That's why the attribute ALT is, I would say, must. Good. Any questions so far? Okay, I take it as yes, and hopefully we are on the same page. If you are not, guys, please let me know. I don't know what's happening on your screen right now. I'm not aware, and if you are not reporting about your issue or the problem, I assume that everything is okay and we are on the same page. Good. Now, let's move on. Now, I want to specify my title, what my profession is. So in order to do it, I will be using right after the image, the using tag H1, I will be using tag H2. So H2 consists of opening tag and the closing tag. Now inside, I want to put something. Let's say that I will be JS. And you can see it right here, GS teacher. Good. Now, let me add something. Now I want to add my contact information. So in order to work with, let's say, some textual data in HTML, there is another tag. You know, it helps you to work with textual data. It's called tag P. Tag P stands for the paragraph. I believe so, and usually people put textual information inside the tag P. So in this case, it will be my context. Good. So, and if I scroll down, you will see that this is my tag P and the value of it, my context. So tag P has opening tag and the closing tag. Good. So since I'm mentioning my contacts, I want to provide, let's say, my phone number and my email, right? So in order to do it, I will say I can reuse my tag P and copy it right here. So instead of my contacts, I will say phone number, then colon, and then I will be putting something +1, and then the same thing for the email. So my email is, for example, let's say stan@gmail.com. This is my email. So if I scroll down, you see that I have my email is displayed, my phone number is displayed, everything is displayed, and I am super happy about it. Guys, do you have the same exact output on your web pages? Yes or no? Or maybe someone needs some help.
No, I have a different. I
Uh,
can't get that picture.
Do you know how to get it? It's from our Slack. All you have to do is just to copy it, right click, copy, then go back to your HTML, and then inside the tag SCRC, you just put it over here. Does it work now?
No, somehow.
Okay, what you can do, you can simply copy the code that I just sent put it in your HTML part and try to compare it. Try to find a mistake.
I'm sorry, I have the same problem.
Okay. Let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look. So could you please start sharing your screen?
Yeah.
Oksana, you sharing?
Yeah. Let me just try one more time.
Oh, who was the first one actually?
Okay.
Sergey. So, okay, Sergey is presenting. Okay, but the deal is you are using the different image, Sergey. That's why. Oh, what's your problem is, Sergey? You are on mute right now. Oksana, is it you? Who is presenting? Sergey is presenting. Okay, Sergey, you are on mute. I cannot hear you. Oh, we cannot hear you. You have to unmute yourself. So if you go to the Slack, you will see the image that I'm using. Okay, but that should be okay. That should be okay. You know, if you're using the different image, that's okay. Could you please scroll up your HTML? I mean, you know, you have instead of the name, you have the term header. Okay, guys, do you have problems? Yes, no? Is everything is okay? All good, all good. Okay, okay, so I assume that I can proceed. So where we at? So here. Now we have our name, now we have our image, now we have some our title, contacts, phone number, and email. Good. So now we can say that we finally finished working on the house. You know, we finally um, finished building the house. Now we can color it and add some bring some colors to it. Now we can style it. So how do we style it? So the very first thing I would like to do something with this image because right now this image is too big and I want to make it a little bit smaller. How do I do this? If we talk about the CSS, all I have to do is just to work type img since we are working only with there is only one img over here. That's why we will be changing this image only. Good. So for instance, let's say that I want to set width to 250 pixels. So the pixel is just basically a small dot which is on your screen, and every screen has its own resolution. I believe some screens are bigger, some screens are smaller, and here in CSS we are just adding the extra instructions about the styling, how we want to see our image, how we want to see our text, how it should look like. So if you see, I type the img says that, hey, if I have the tag img, this styling will be applied to this image. If I add another image, that image will have the same exact properties. Good. So what else? What else I can do? I can add a radius over here. Border radius. Oops. So the border radius will be, I don't know, 20 pixels, for example. So as you can see now, if I let me remove it, watch the angles. So if I remove it, you will see right now it's a rectangle, that 90 degrees. So now I was adding the following property: border radius. The radius of this curve is like 20 pixels. So basically, I can style the image. I can set up the width, the height, the border radius, and so on and so on and so on. And if you ask me, do the QAs really need to know every single CSS property or every single HTML element? I would say no, but you should be able to read it at least. So this is like, the minimum required. But once you start working, you will get, you will learn more CSS properties, you will learn more HTML elements, and then maybe like in a month or something, you will be reading everything, and everything will be super clear for you. Good. So now I finished working on the editing my image. Now I want to change, for example, my heading, the name. Right now it's in black color. Now I want to change it. How to change the color of this heading over here? If I simply type H1 and then I put curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets I should pass the styling of that heading. So what I actually want to do with this heading, so we will be using the color and changing the color. So by default it's in black, and I want to set it to blue, for example. Let's see what happens. So now, as you can see, we successfully changed the color of this of my name. So this is how simple it is. Now I want to right now, this was the following text or the following block of information as my contact, phone number, and email look a little bit plain to me. I want to add some styling over here. So, but what if I will be adding, or instead of my contacts, I can add another HTML element. So this is called, for example, I will add the tag I inside of it. So I open it right here, close it, and I. So I open my tag P, and then I open another tag I over here. And as you can see, the font styling, it's called the font styling, became italic. Now it's a little bit different. So let me show you how it was before. Was something like this. Okay, but with my contacts, now I added now I add the tag I to make everything the context of it in italic. Good. Now I have my contacts in italic. Good. So what else I can do? I, for example, want to underline the phone number and email. So if I want to underline phone number and email, I will add the tag B. So the tag B will make your text in bold. Good. So phone number and then email. B over here and the B over here. Good. Okay, good. So tag P contains the whole information, but if I want to make the phone number and email in bold, all I have to do is just to enclose the following information inside the tag B. Tag B stands for the bold. Good. So what else I can do? I think that's okay. That's okay. Everything is visible to me right now. Now I will be adding something or editing my tag P. So if I want to edit my tag P, all I want to do is over here, I will say tag P, and now everything that will tag or everything, if my HTML has tag P, everything will be changed over here through this following styling. So for this, I will say, for example, color will be in red. And as you can see, the color became red. Okay, good. Questions?
Yes, it's necessary to move a new line in CSS.
It's very good practice. It's a very good practice to keep it this way, but it's not necessary. But if you ask me about the, let's say, the real time, once we start working with a job, everything will be separated. It's the reason for doing it, for doing this, so that it will be readable for you. Let me show you how it looks on our project. For example, something like this, CSS, you see, I have a bunch of stuff over here. And if I move everything on the one line, everything, it will be a little bit challenging for me to read everything over here, right? So that's why we start from every single line over here. So don't be afraid of that kind of stuff. We will come to it. But before this, I want to show you something simple. But we definitely will be doing more harder stuff my course. So
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So now what else we can do? Now I can, for example, if I want to change the color of the following text, what should I do? Guys, please help me. Come on, please. I want to change the color of the following value, JS teacher. What
This is
HTML element?
H2, isn't it?
Yes,
If you
this
change
is
in
H.
CSS H2 and then you
Ooh,
change the
okay.
color, the same as you done for H1.
Exactly. Good job. So let's put it in gold color. And as you can see, it's in gold color. Now this is how we can successfully change the text. Now I want to change the styling for the B, for the tag B. How do I do this? It's pretty much the same, right? So I just simply should just type B, and then B will be, I don't know, color will be brown, something like this. Let's try brown. And as you can see, now the phone number and the email are in brown color now. So what we can benefit, or what the whole purpose of the CSS, if there is any way that we can apply the CSS directly in the HTML, and if you ask me, there is a way, but in the real life projects, everything is separated. Like, for example, your HTML file is in one file, your CSS file is another file. This is how everybody is working with it. So what else can we do? We can actually change the background color. In order to do it, we have to remember the command. You just simply remember the skeleton, the body, the human body. So you just put the tag body. Even though you don't see it here, you should trust me, it's there. So if you just put the body and say background color, let's say green, what happens? Yeah, and as you can see, the background of the whole image of the website becomes in green color, right? Does it make sense? So if you ask me what happens, or let me ask you what happens if I going to add H2, and I will put some text in it. For example, test, what color it would have? It's a question for you guys. And why? So I'm going right after my email. I expect to see the heading, right? Because H2 is responsible for the heading. So if I put some value inside the H2, what color it would have?
Gold?
So
Gold.
exactly, yeah, it will, let's just say, I should be in gold color. So if you see it, you see that everything is in gold color. So the whole point of how we can benefit from using CSS, you create HTML or CSS styling for one specific element. In our case, it's H2, or it can be whatever you want. As you can see, CSS can be applied to every single HTML element. So basically, whatever we create over here, we can add a styling through here. So, and as you can see, I don't have to, for example, create another H2 element and say, hey, another H2 has to be also in gold color, while I can declare all the future instructions for the future HTML elements, which I will be putting in my HTML window through the CSS file. So I will be put extra instruction in my CSS file so that everybody will know how my HTML should look like. Does it make sense to you guys? Yes, no? Please tell something.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the feedback. Now, what the whole point of learning HTML and CSS. And if you ask me, or usually people ask me during my free course, why do we actually need to learn HTML and CSS, right? And of course, so the JavaScript can be used for the coding or creating something, right? Doing the automation or creating the websites, right? But if you ask me how we can benefit from learning HTML and CSS, so the HTML and or JavaScript appear because of, you can say that, so that the JavaScript appear because of the HTML and CSS. The people, they came across to the point when they wanted to make their website more attractive, to bring dynamic to their website. That's why they decided to use the JavaScript. But let's come back to our topic, HTML and CSS in QA. Let's say that we are working in the same company, right? And I will be you will be, let's say, Adina will be one of the QA, and she finds out that the color of the following text is it should be in red color, but for some reason it's in gold color. How she can say, or how she can technically report about it? Because QA, one of the QA duties, or you can say responsibilities, is to find the bugs, right? So what is actually a bug? Bug is actually the issue which, or something that is not expected, right? So or according to the documentation, we know that, for example, this specific text has to be in red color, but for some reason it's in gold color. So Adina will just open the CSS file and she will find that tag H2 and say, hey, here instead of the gold should be red, right? Good, something like this. So, and it should, like, for example, like this. She can take a screenshot with, for example, gold color. Then she will just she will just take a screenshot, and then she will create. People call it bug report, where you actually describe what the issue is, steps to reproduce. Then you may probably add a screenshot and say, hey, Stan, on our website, we have an element, H2. It has the following color. It is in gold color, but according to the documentation, before we were creating the website, we had documentation, and according to the documentation, the following text has to be in red color, right? So it's a bug. Could you please fix it? And I see that Adina provided the screenshots, steps to reproduce, how to find this element. Now for example, I am your developer, should be fixing this one. All I have to do is just to change the color. So I change the color over here, and once I change it in the CSS, she, or Adina, will just open the CSS and she checks this specific element, H2 color red. That means that on the website, it should also be in red color. That's the whole point of the learning HTML and CSS, so that you can technically describe what the issue is. You should be able to find the issues. Then you will save a lot of time if you know how HTML and CSS work. So hope it gives you an idea. Okay, questions? No questions? Come on, guys. Are you shy?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually have two questions, so I'll cover one for the team. Basically, the first one is, how would you go about if you want one of the H2s, like the JS teacher, to stay gold, and then, for example, the second one to be purple, for example, because you don't want to change it to H3 because it would be smaller, if I understand correctly. So
Yeah,
you want
so
both of them to stay the same size.
Okay, got you. So here I'm going to add this test. As you can see, it's in yellow color. So you should add the attribute style, and then should say color should be, let's say, red. It should work. Yeah, and you can see this become in red color. So I don't want to dive into the terms, but this is called inline CSS. This is called external CSS. We will be doing both once we start learning the project, but this is the way how you can do it. Okay.
Okay. Okay, cool. And then my second question is basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, if you want to make something bold or italicize it, you put it in the line of the HTML. And then if you want to change like the color, you would do that in CSS, correct? But then there's some exceptions where you would change the color directly in the HTML.
Okay, I got you. So there is such thing as, of course, you can use HTML elements, in this case tag B or tag I, in order to make your text italic or bold. But there are CSS properties, which I don't want to touch today, which will also can do the same exact job, so that you don't want to create HTML elements with a tag I or B. So you can use either or, whatever you like, basically.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm still learning all of this.
No, that's fine. That's why you are here. That's why we are actually doing a free course, because once we start doing, like, the actual project, the workflow will be pretty much the similar. I will be showing you something, and your work as students try to understand and ask the questions and my job is to answer the questions, or at least use Google in order to ask your questions. So either or should work for us eventually, hopefully. So I'm just here to show you how or what the real course experience would look like. My goal as a teacher to show you something, to try to explain with easy terms, how it should works. And your job is just to understand how it works. And then in the end of every single lecture, you will be doing the homeworks, which is related to the specific topics. So for example, today we learned HTML and CSS, and I prepared a simple homework for you guys so that you can submit and try to do something similar to this one, but not exactly the same thing, so that you can practice a little bit before our next course. And then maybe you decide, if you like my approach, or if you do not, you can feel free to reach me out. Either way, I highly appreciate your feedback. Maybe if there is something that you want to see different, or if there is a gap for improvement, I'm open to any advices. Good. So let's talk about the project, how the project looked like. We have a special website where we'll be pushing our, let's say, submitting our code. I can show you how it looks like, just for the training purposes. It's called Azure DevOps, and you will have something like this. We will be having the boards where you will be putting your task. We will be moving it. For example, this is how stand-ups looks like. For example, I see that Alona currently is working on something. Murat finished work something, and he wants me to check his homework. This is like, I'll talk about it once we start doing our project. Don't be afraid. It's just a small overview how our actual project looks like. And if you go to the repos actually, this is how our project looks like. We have documentation, we have practice folder, we have classwork folder, and during our project we will be building something cool. So how or what we will be building, let me show you this guy over here. We will be building something like this, a website which involves the knowledge of both of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Later on, we will be adding functionality to this website. We will be adding the buttons to this site, and every single topic that we will be learning during my course, for example, variables, functions, arrays, objects, everything will be applied to this specific project. So this is how the project looks like, and hopefully if you decide to proceed with us, I will be very happy to see all of you during my course. So this is, I think it's enough for the project. Let's talk about your homework. So what's your homework or what you will be doing for your homework? So for the homework, I will be dropping this website. Oh, hold on. I will create a Slack message over here in our Slack channel. So homework. Okay, let's say 3 September, September, and then GS homework. And here I will be dropping the image to this post. And your goal, guys, it's very important to reply in thread. Don't create a separate message for that, because I don't want. Well, no, let's put it another way. We don't want our Slack channel to be overflooded with some extra stuff. All you have to do is just to click on this button over here, reply in thread, and then you just simply drop the homework. So the homework will look like, or how to submit your homework. Actually, let's talk about the homework first. So here, let's zoom in a little bit. So here you have to create a small, let's say, card from the city where you live in, or maybe your favorite city. It doesn't necessarily have to be your hometown, or maybe if you like LA, you can put LA over here, and maybe bring some fact over here from this website. But I want you to use heading and make sure. So for example, something should be in bold, something has to be in italic, or maybe in bold at the same time, and your card should have image. So how to submit your homework? If you want to submit your homework, it's quite easy. You go to your Codepen, and then if you remember it, make sure that your autosave is enabled. How to get there? You click on the save button, and then you enable autosave. So autosave should be enabled. Then all you have to do is just to select the following link, and then you copy it and submit it right here. Put it here. I will see the name next to your Codepen, and if you click on it, you will be having access to our today's classwork, so that you can see the HTML, CSS, and everything is super clear. I believe it's easy to understand how it works. So this is what the plan is for our homework. So make sure you put your homework, or you submit your homework under my post over here. I'm going to pin it to the channel so that you may find it, and please put it under this post. Because I don't know if Arthur mentioned it, for people who submit all the homeworks, they will get a discount for the course. To be honest with you, I don't know what the discount would be, but you will be getting the discount, and it's definitely worth, at least for the first month, so that you can save some money, right? And I hope that you enjoyed our free lecture today. I'm eager to check your homeworks, guys, and I'm looking forward to see you on the next week. So for the next week, we will be doing something with JavaScript. I don't want to disclose what we will be doing there, but it will be much fun over there. Okay, do you have any questions before we wrap up? Nadia?
No, just thank you for the lesson.
Okay, it was very nice talking to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm super
Nice to
happy
meet
that you came, found some time, to visit our course, to meet me, of course. So yeah, we'll be waiting for you on our next our next lecture. So well, hopefully everybody will come. It was very nice talking to you, and the recording will be put on our Slack channel again with all the instructions, and you will find everything over there. So I wish you good the rest of your day. I believe for everyone who is like have a morning over, good morning. Have a nice day, guys. So I'll see you on the next week, hopefully. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.